they were to go in for a feather airstrike and actually get caught out, wrapped around by the Yuzong, it's hard to actually get around with that. But hey, they're going in for the Harry for the second time for Pokemon. Oh, this is a Harley special coming from the side of Aeon. So back then, these guys, of course, have been playing a lot of Harley in the early seasons, and Aeon used to be known as the best Harley out there in the MYSG.
That is true, but for RRQ Hoshi, I would have liked if they went for a Sylvana tank. Just looking at the EVOS SG lineup right now, they could have gone for it. It could have been better, but Jawhead is their go-to person. Now, I think EVOS SG is just going for this have multiple problems or multiple mobile heroes that can go in and out. And honestly, I'm seeing RRQ Hoshi's lineup right now. They don't really have catch as much. The only thing that they have is the ejector and the unstoppable force. For the Yuzhong, yes, the knockup is there, but it will be very hard to land against these heroes.
Yeah, that possibly will be true, but just look at how much DPS damage that they can deal as well as sustain.
That's true.
That itself will be really scary in the late game, especially when Malwan gets activated. Now, it's time for us to see whether or not can the hometown favorites here, EVOS SG, pull one pointer back and find a way to climb up in towards the upper brackets, because if they want the best chance, they have to find a way to put RRQ in towards the lower brackets. That's where the Kings will be slaying some of all the other bigger teams out there, and that definitely will be an interesting thing to picture, but it's all boiling down to results at the very end of the day. We will be a little bit patient, as of course being displayed on the screen. So we go back in towards this draft. So we got the Harif on the other side, also with the Yishin Shin, sort of like a double marksman sort of composition. Obviously, one of it will be jungling, and over on towards the other end, RRQ side actually fielding that Roger. So let's talk us through strength of Roger right now.
Strength of Roger right now is he has this gap closer that deals damage. So it's more likely that when you pick the Roger, you would aim to go for those high HP bar off tanks. You would want him to face against those heroes. But then again, the Benedetta might be aiming to go for that off-tank build that we've been seeing. The Brute Force Breastplate, the Blade Armors, it's there. Then again, I'm seeing right now, in a way, it's probably just for the dive. Because seeing the requirement from EVOS SG talking about complex win conditions, it's here. You can see that. There is this thing about them that they need to scale as much as possible. Harith needs to scale. Harley somewhat needs to scale as well.
Yeah.
So everyone just has this need to get their core items first before they can fight. And with Roger, as long as you have the orange buff on your side, you will deal significant amount of damage, especially in wolf form.
That's right. All the buffs will be relatively important, as well as whoever gets ahead in terms of levels will be able to just get more advantages in that sort of sense. So this is a very resource-heavy game coming out of the side of EVOS
I completely
SG.
agree.
And with that, you gotta see from the side of RRQ Hoshi, it's relatively about the same if you ask me.
R7 will be playing that Yuzhong Lemon as the 1-1. And look at this, he does not have the flicker, but he does have the Aegis. Lemon here, using that extra shield to get away from that damage and to not get forced out of lane. But Aeon here will be the target of Psycho, but there is a punish coming in here for EVOS SG. Make that a 1-for-1 Contra.
Well, technically you can call that a 1-1.
Yeah. That's actually funny.
Back in the game.
That was actually funny. It just took a while to sink in.
Seems like they're going to be changing the scores. We've been dropping out some health coming for the side of Aeon, but still, this will be EVOS SG with that lead, finally breaking that truce. So having a little bit of slight advantage in the early game. I love the fact that in both of these matches that we are seeing, every time EVOS SG loses a member, they go in for a trade, and that's absolutely worth it. Now, we do look at it, yeah, sure, it's just basically the Jawhead dropping down or Vin, but, you know, it's still going to be Goldie's goal going over on towards JPL side, which means that he has enough money to just build whatever he wants.
Look at this, Albert, with Albert in the area, they could not fight him. They know that he has the buffs. He will deal a lot of damage if allowed to go for the dive, but EVOS SG played that well. They did not jump the gun. They did not try to punish Lemon as much. And Lemon right now has the Aegis up this time. Mounting Shocker to get a bit of information and harass on the enemies. So RRQ Hoshi will stand back.
Very preemptive measure coming in from the side of EVOS SG, expanding the Mounting Shocker just like that. And now, with that, we have 4 members right there. Oh, Aeon looking to actually go in for the catch, trying to actually get Vin, but he's falling down low. No follow-ups whatsoever coming from the side of EVOS SG. But with the turtle coming low, they are forcing their way back, and they are giving this one up for RRQ Hoshi to steal it away.
EVOS SG knows that they cannot contest that as long as the Roger is there.
Oh,
that's how much pressure they exude here for the side of EVOS SG. But look at that ejector. It catches out Pokemon. Zaman Force, he is forced out. And that's going to be Potato getting the kill secured. JPL going out. He does have the Jit Kondo and the Shunpo. And this is going to be not a 1-for-1, but someone going down on RQ Hoshi alone.
Yeah, and it's still very much evened up, but this buff is being hijacked. But Potato, he almost got caught out. It will still be another trade coming out of these both teams. Down Force being used out, and it will be Albert chasing right in. This is looking relatively great for Pokemon as Albert tries to make a great escape, but Aeon says, no, I can still find you with whatever cost I could throw at your face.
EVOS SG timed that perfectly. Pokemon knew that the buff was out, so he decided to just jump in. It was the perfect condition. It was the perfect requirement for him. He had a Zaman Force. He had the capability to, you know, just have this trade with a Roger. And Albert knew that he had to get out of harm's way, so he just tried to get away, and after that, it wasn't enough. His mobility isn't that good.
Aeon's right here. It's going to be going in for the catch as well. Yuzon now finally using the Dragon 4, but it's way too late. Aeon has been able to find those pickups right there. He didn't really need that flame shot even in this scenario.
And that's why you call it deadly magic, because it's deadly.
Indeed. So, a couple of these are the goal being garnered coming from inside of EVOS SG. They are once again ahead, but only by a very slight margin. Now Psycho having a little bit of the camp protection. JPL causing some disruption towards the top side of things as Lemon has been having so much of the Guardian Angel by his side, but Pokemon just wants to poke a little bit of fun on this Jawhead. Nothing much has been able to be garnered here, but that turtle slowly having it being yoinked away as EVOS SG has been able to get this one in the back.
JPL with the Wave the Dragon, he catches out that Lu Yi, and right now it's a 3v4 situation. Make this a 3v4 actually, and right now he just jumps in. Pokemon gets bursted down. Potato here trying to deal as much damage as possible. Psycho getting deadly magic. It deals no damage at all.
I just love the way that they are pressing on towards the attack. You can just see how determined they are by just committing with the Way of the Dragon as well as the Zaman Force. Now Soul pulling in the wave as he's trying to proxy this one down. Lowy is going to be making his way over on towards the lane, but still having some space to be able to just force a little bit of the exchange later on. And the good thing about having such a high mobility composition from inside EVOS SG is that they can easily find those picks whenever they want to. And JPL, they're just camping towards the top side, but for Soul, he can always make his way out.
Soul here using those dashes to his advantage. He'll get away from the hands of Psycho. He will not get ejected into the 1-1.
Oh,
and there's
boy.
the stoppable force. Aeon here using the Cyclone Eye wisely. And that's in. He got it in
Perfect
time.
timing.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, I guess that is definitely the magic trick in the hat. but RRQ has been able to get their hands on towards the very first turret, which is in the mid lane. So this is going to be a little bit troublesome for the side of EVOS SG, knowing for the fact that some parts of the jungle they have to give away in terms of pressure, but looking at this sort of scenario, it's a 1-2-2 coming out from the side of RRQ Hoshi, and they're finding ways to just put Soul to sleep, but at this very moment, is Aeon going to be able to do so much? But Albert is going to be diving right in! Oh my god, just look at the damage! Oh, he's going to be bursting him down, but Soul cannot do anything at all. 4 members of RRQ just marching right in, looking for JPL as well, but he can easily just use his Shunpo as well as Jikendo to get himself back out. But what exactly would the response be for the rest of EVOS SG, because they don't really get that much of an exchange other than the turret on top?
Now, Albert has the Wind Talker, and with that Contra, I mean, he's gonna be more confident in the dives that he will take.
Indeed, and Vin this time getting caught out.
Nice
He's gonna be having some force, but it will be a little bit more area for him to work with. Lemon tries to go in for a trade as well, but for RRQ Hoshi, they are so preemptive in this sort of decision. Way up the dragon, this positioning their members all across the place. Psycho might just be dropped right here as Soul has been able to garner 1 kill in the back alongside with Aeon. The rest of RRQ definitely having some Survey members being bruised up. They are being forced to retreat, but currently there's not much of an objective for them to take. Lemon still pretty much healthy at the moment, facing a 2 versus 1.
Holy Crystal is now up for Aeon, and that only means that he's gonna hurt a lot, especially with his burst potential. Now for RRQ Hoshi, I really think that they need to hold on to this certain lead that they have by just taking down the turrets. They haven't been taking down turrets. Yes, they've been winning a lot of these fights, but in terms of converting it to objectives, they haven't been successful in that department.
That's right, and just looking at this matter, how well it's been working. Oh, here comes the Electro being used up already by Soul, as he will be able to find his way back to safety. One great turret being secured coming from the side of EVOS SG, 96 at the current standpoint, 3k in terms of goal lead, and that's going to be extending once they drop this turret as well. I just love the way that they are controlling the entirety of the pace of the game, forcing RRQ Hoshi not to be getting too much out of all these sort of exchanges. They're still waiting for the time for Lemon to kick up a notch and just force his way through some of these fights. Luminous Lord is now online pretty much soon in the span of 3 minutes.
And that was a timely... they got the orange buff in a timely manner just because the Lord is now up. 9 minutes into the game, Albert still has a fresh orange buff, so that means he can deal a lot of damage. Albert there, turning into a werewolf. He didn't go for the jump, but that, I think, scared the hell out of Potato.
Yeah, even if he commits a jump, they still have the mobility to actually move away. So it's a very risky thing for the Roger to just be the first guy to make that move. They just need them to have the jawhead to commit towards this, and they have to give away this very first Lord on the span of 9 minutes. Remember, this is not going to be the one that's luminous, but hey, it still works very well. And you can see this is the very first time that I'm seeing a very convincing lead coming from inside of EVOS SG as compared to the ones that we see before. Now, speaking of that, Ejector on towards Soul, but he could still be able to find a couple of all these areas of play. The Wawa will be able to take one down, but Pokemon, he's in trouble right now. Getting saved there by Soul, but is it going to be enough? 4 versus 3 is not going to be the number that you want to be looking for, EVOS. And with that, Aeon, the next one to fall to the hands of Albert with a beautiful dive right through. Only 2 members left for the side of EVOS SG. JPL definitely on the wrong direction.
JPL trying to buy some time. The Lord is at the bottom lane. As you can see, Yisun Shin is making his way there so that the Lord can push a bit of these towers onto the bottom lane. Now, clearly seeing that the fight is done and he doesn't have any more information of where RRQ Hoshi is going, he just went back because he didn't want to risk his life just to escort the Lord to that certain turret.
And I gotta say that RRQ Hoshi played that very well. Like, they understood that, okay, with the Lord already going down towards the bot side, they are expecting to see EVOS members going up towards the top, and they cut them out before they could do so, rendering that Lord useless. And even so, EVOS still looking to secure more of these objectives. It's already 5 turrets in the bag as compared to 3 from the side of RRQ Hoshi. Now, finally, we get a little bit of a breather here to discuss even further, because this game is absolutely nuts.
Yep. It's crazy how well these teams are utilizing the small advantages against the enemy team just to get a certain lead, 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 a